So Caitlin Clark was at Team USA camp, and we're hearing more and more things about this. And by the looks of things, Caitlin Clark was good. By the sounds of things, Caitlin Clark was genuinely good. By good, do I think she was the level Caitlin Clark was supposed to be at, or like you would expect Caitlin Clark to be at mid-season? By the sounds of things, no. By the sounds of things, like Caitlin Clark was not in mid-season form, and no matter what people want to say, like that's to be expected. That is to be expected. Caitlin Clark should not have been, like, any reasonable person is not expecting Caitlin Clark to be one of the 5 to 10 best players. Maybe one of the 10 best players, one of the 5 best players at that Team USA camp. But by every account, Caitlin Clark looked like she was enjoying herself. Caitlin Clark, there were flashes of Caitlin Clark being Caitlin Clark again, which is all you can ask for and all you can hope for. And this is showing, again, you're talking about Caitlin Clark. There was Sabrina Merchant was talking about it. Caitlin Clark was getting hacked by I can't remember, it was like Caitlin Clark's getting grabbed by Kelsey Plum, and then Caitlin fouled her back, and she was complaining to the referees. Like, that's one of those things where it's like, yeah, she's there complaining to refs. She's back. She's back. But let's take a listen.
Caitlin Clark back on the court, super impressed with Caitlin just being engaged while she was out and getting back to being able to play.
It was a combination of like USA players going against USA players and then also USA players going against the scout team, which was just like players from small colleges all across North Carolina sort of helping out with that scout team practice. And, you know, she looked like Caitlin. The step back three was there. The passes were there. When she was not playing with Aaliyah Boston, some of the bigs didn't know what to do with her passes. There was one time where she passed it to Hamby, and Hamby like brought the ball down. It's like, you can't do that. This is not. You have to keep it up, right?
Straight up.
Just like not expecting where that was coming. But FIBA, naturally, just a lot more physical than other levels of basketball, even more physical than the WNBA. So having to see Caitlin like go at scouting players who were, you know, instructed to play at a FIBA level of physicality was interesting, considering how long she's been out and the fact that she's still ramping up injury-wise. But she looked good. She was just like so happy to be there.
And that's one of the most important things. That is one of the most important things, where it's like, she just looked happy to be there. And yeah, let's take a listen to this as well.
And we wrote about that on the site, just like how people have been perceiving the negotiations and what still affects.
Where do we skip into this?
A little snow on one of the days, you know, just a little taste of the winter in the South. But
Right.
yeah, it was interesting just to see what Carol Lawson is prioritizing in terms of how she wants to make her imprint on this program. And just fun to like see the players in a live game situation again, because you think about like Caitlin hasn't played since July 15th, you know.
Yes.
There are 4 sparks
Yes.
of this camp. Their season ended on September 11th, right? So it's been a long time since any of them have really played competitive basketball. You know, you saw some
It was mad that the team that had most players didn't make the playoffs.
situations where like Caitlin's stuck guarding Kelsey and Kelsey's, you know, knocking her off the ball, and Caitlin gets called for a foul and she starts yelling at the refs like, she's grabbing me, and all of the coaches from WNBA teams who were sitting there watching are just cracking up. Kelsey had one situation where she sort of finished through traffic. She'd been struggling a little bit, you know, got through to the hoop, just like yells right in like Becky Hammond and Nikki Fargas's face, and they're just like cracking up, like classic Kelsey, you know?
I will say, I don't know where. I get where the whole FIBA is more physical thing came from. But, like, it's one thing if back in the day it was more physical. But, like, unless you're playing Belgium, who have FIBA Messerman and Kiara Linskens, the America are much more physical. Like, Germany have Geisel Suter and Niara Sabali as their 2 bigs. America are more physical. France have Rupert Badjian and Malonga. Like, much more and Salon, much more physical as Team USA. I don't understand where it's like, oh, it's more physicality. It's like, the refs don't allow more physicality. And it's a different type of physicality. Like, the physicality that Caitlin gets with hand checking, basically, you can as if you get your chest in front, you can move people. So, like, let's just say you have your hands to your side and you're in legal defensive position. You can, if somebody's trying to run, you can essentially just use your body to shield them out of bounds. You can use as long as you get your body in the way in international play, you're fine. But in the WNBA, if you look at Caitlin Clark, and like with a lot of players, she got hand checked. Hand check is fouling. And that's one of the things that in the WNBA people don't realize, like, oh, the physicality. The WNBA allows fouls. The WNBA isn't allowing physical play, it is allowing hacking. It allows hand checks. It allows literally fouling people. And that's a big difference. Is that, especially in the NBA, you can do everything legally, but if you do it physically, it's going to be a foul. Like if you're in legal guarding position and you get into legal guarding position and instead of taking the charge, you stand your ground, stay strong, and the opponent jumps into you and hits the deck. It's going to be, if you don't take that charge, if you come out stronger, it's going to be a defensive foul. Whereas in Europe, that's the thing in Europe, men's and women's, they allow physicality, but they don't allow fouling. In the WNBA, it's not even physical play; they just allow fouling. Like there's no other way to describe it. Like they literally just allow fouling. That's the best thing I can say.
Right. Stirring it up. I love that. Yeah. I love that you could see the storylines continue from the W season into this camp. And I want to particularly hit on two things that you wrote about. Just Caitlin Clark being back on the court. You also got a quote out of Sue Bird about her being impressed with Caitlin just being engaged.
Okay, so we've already gone and listened to that anyway. So it is one of those things where it's like, I think that's probably the most important thing that they said at the end is that Caitlin Clark just looked happy playing. And if you know the type of players that Caitlin Clark are, that type of players Caitlin Clark is, if we're being honest, she is a player that she plays off instinct. If the love of basketball is gone from Caitlin Clark, she's not going to be the same player. She's just not. She plays free. She takes risks. She's not as calculated as a lot of other players. She's not going to dissect you. Like, there's a lot of players you see it in basketball that, like, they're calculated with all their movements. They're trying to pick you apart and, basically control the tempo of the game and slowing it down, and you're Luka or you're LeBron. She's like your Magic Johnson, where it's like when Caitlin Clark is going, it's not like she will never give you have a quiet game. Like you'll never look at a box score and see Caitlin Clark have 25 points, 14 assists, and 7 rebounds and think, geez, I didn't realize she had that much. You'll be thinking, oh, I thought she had 40. Like that is the kind of impact she will give you. She doesn't give you a quiet 30. She gives you a loud 15. Like Caitlin takes over games in ways that is like nobody can. Like there will be like Caitlin, the way that Caitlin will take over games is that her team might go on an 18-0 run with every single point being scored or assisted by Caitlin Clark in a 4.5 minute spell to make a game, to go from down 5 to up 13. Like that, well, basically it was down 15 to up 10 against the Phoenix Mercury last year, where every single basket other than one was either scored or assisted by Caitlin Clark in what was the craziest game of her career. Where it's funny, if you look back on that game, I think she had 15 points and 13 assists and on 4 of 15 shooting. And people were just like, oh, this was a terrible game. I remember people posting the stats and were like, oh, inefficient. She nearly lost in that game. And it's like, I literally was like, go to the box score and look at what happened from when they were down 10 to up, or down 15 to up 10. 2 points, Caitlin Clark. 2 points, X, assisted by Caitlin Clark. 3 points, Elizabeth Smith, assisted by Caitlin, assisted by Caitlin, assisted by Caitlin, scored by Caitlin, assisted by Caitlin, assisted by Caitlin. It's like, that's kind of the way she plays, and she needs to be happy. She needs to be happy. She needs to play with joy. And that's kind of, for me, that's one of what I always say is the only reason I don't like Stephanie White as a coach for Caitlin is that Stephanie White is very opposite of that. She's calculated. She doesn't want Caitlin to take risks. She wants Caitlin to play slow, whereas I'm like, if Caitlin's not Caitlin, she's not very good. Caitlin's not very good at being anyone other than Caitlin Clark. And Caitlin Clark is, there's a reason why so many fans have gravitated towards Caitlin Clark as a basketball player. And that's my biggest fear with Stephanie White, is that she's trying to turn Caitlin Clark into somebody that isn't Caitlin Clark. And who knows, that player might end up winning a couple of championships. But I would be very confident Caitlin being Caitlin win championships anyway. But if Caitlin's no longer Caitlin, I mean, that's going to suck a lot of fun out of WNBA basketball, because let's be real, there aren't that many fun teams to watch in this league. There just aren't. there aren't. And I'll say the same in the NBA. There's not that many fun teams watching the NBA either. But yeah, that's pretty much it, lads. That's the video. See you guys.